and ESEA.
While Nifty gave it everything that he possibly could as we led into the rounds that were overtime, OpTic were able to come out on top in our first matchup of the day. Of course, Mirage would be that map. And with that, we're going to try to break this one down just a little bit, as much as possible. And with that, take it away, guys.
Yeah. Started looking a bit dicey there for Renegades after the first half. I mean, obviously leading into the second half as well, we saw OpTic being up as much as 13-9 before they started mounting that comeback. And I think it's fair to say that that entirety of the comeback comes off of the back of the double op setup from Renegades. OpTic had surprisingly big problems with actually being able to deal with that. You know, whether it being actually doing set executes or just playing, you know, pick-based style, just nothing really seemed to come through for them. And they would end up giving away opening frags, similar to how Renegades kind of were the same victims of the same kind of thing on their T side. But it was just a really odd game in that sense, because you would expect them to have a bit of a better idea as to how they wanted to play versus double op setups. But I guess, to be fair, we don't see you steal a pick with that up too much.
True, and it seemed like OpTic found like success on the A-bomb side, basically, by splitting that. You know, as you said, there was a lot of rounds where they got the first pick, but when they finally find out how to actually stay alive and do a proper A-split, they actually worked, I think it was 3 out of 4 rounds in the last 3 rounds for OpTic in that sense. So they had a clear plan what they wanted to do. They just weren't able to execute it in the beginning. I think that's why it went on being so close. But we saw in the OT, which were the best team, or the better team in this sense, Config prompting 34 kills and managing to die 31 times in one game. And
that's the most incredible thing, right?
We talked about like him being like endlessly aggressive, and he did that like to its fullest this time. This time actually in a way where he was very impactful. Ends up with a rating of 1.53, only having a plus 3 scoreline, which is pretty much unheard of. We see it on the screen right now. He's just this endlessly aggressive player, always taking the duels, always going for the fight. Sometimes he wins, most often he wins, and sometimes he dies. And he always creates so much space for his teammates, and that's why it's such a wonderful thing to have a guy like Config on your team.
Yeah, no, I guess, yeah, it's always kind of been the trademark with him that what allows him to be as good as he is also potentially his biggest weakness as a player as well. I think this is kind of a nice way of showcasing it, the fact that he will be so aggressive to the point where it will get him killed, but he might have set you up for success like throughout that point. Like, you might have done enough to really mess up with your opponents when it comes down to it. And it kind of showed in this case, because OpTic were able to win rounds. Obviously, you know, started off kind of shaky with the Renegades winning pistol, but you see the endless aggression just weirds Renegades out. They're not allowed to set up with the proper execute, not allowed to get map control for free. So Config, even though he goes down and does give out that map control eventually, it's still shook enough of Renegades for them to not being able to get anything out of the rounds.
Yeah, it was enough.
Well, I mean, the interesting aspect of this, too, is with a player like Config, if he's able to pull out those kills, if he's able to hit those shots and get those kills early on, then, you know, he does create that space.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if he doesn't capitalize, they're going to punish that. And a much better team than Renegades will be able to just run all over this OpTic lineup with that sort of mentality. But with Train coming up, which is the next map, of course, will we see much of the same?
There's not as much room for aggressiveness on Train. Mirage is one of these maps that we often put it in the same pool as Cash. One of the maps where it's allowed to take a lot of duels. It's allowed to do a lot of free-for-all stuff in that sense, where you can go out middle, take a duel, you can go up A, take a duel, you can go out A apps, take a duel, you can go B apps and take a duel. Whereas Train is a little bit more locked in the sense that you just have to defend when you're on the CT side. You don't necessarily have to be aggressive. That said, though, Config is a guy known for being very aggressive on Ivy.
He's going to find a way.
He's going to find a way. Like, even on Cobblestone, he managed to die all the time and be aggressive, which is probably the most inaggressive map or unaggressive map in the pool right now. But I don't think we're going to see it to the same extent this time around, especially as an Ivy player on the CT side on Train. Config needs to stay alive and needs to be this linchpin who can clutch out the rounds and retake in a bomb side had they lost that in the initial round. So not as much aggressiveness for Config this time around, but he seems to be fired up, and if I were Renegades, I would be careful going towards his way.
Definitely so, and I guess one thing that is going to be interesting to see for me is that whenever OpTic has gone to Train quite a bit so far in Pro League, but they haven't necessarily been very good at it. I wouldn't say we've seen like a very solid Train game coming out of them up till this point. So for me, it's going to be cool to see whether or not they've actually improved upon what they've been struggling with. Basically, slowing down the pace on their T side, that's been a massive issue for them. Whenever they've kept the pace up, whenever they've been basically rushing towards bomb sites, that's been paying off and giving dividends, really. And whatever they've either been forced to slow down or actually opted to do so themselves, they get into trouble. Whether they've sorted out their defaults and that kind of stuff going into this matchup, that could be the big decider, really. Because if they haven't, I think they could be looking at a potential loss here versus Renegades, because there are no slouches on Train by any means.
No doubt Renegades showed up for this match as well. Like we just saw it was an OT game. Everyone was on fire, Nifty in particular, and that's an important guy to have on fire when you move into Train. A map that is AVP heavy in that sense. So I feel we're in for a good game, and I don't feel Config is going to be able to have the same impact, at least not in the same way he had on Mirage. So it's going to be interesting, as you said, to see how OpTic is going to approach this one. Whether it's going to be a fast type of style or a little bit more slow paced, like Stanislav actually likes to do in Train. Maybe not suits him as well. We'll see though. And I feel like Renegades have a decent chance of actually, as you said, making a game out of this one.
But I don't think at this point it's a question of firepower. Like, I think both teams have been able to find some sort of lining within these matchups, or at least this matchup that we're going into, where they have enough firepower to compete amongst each other.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. I guess they're somewhat evenly matched, especially when you do get those, I guess, jokers on the side of Renegades to be a part of the game as well. You still is always a bit of a wild card for me whenever I see Renegades played. He could either be very impactful or a bigger detriment to the team than what he does good. And then in this scenario, he was definitely more towards the impact side than anything else. Didn't have necessarily the greatest of T sides, but definitely made up for that going into the CT side. He's going to have to be able to do something similar to that, because I think on average we're going to see more of consistent performance and output from the OpTic players than we will the Renegades. So they're the ones who are going to have to kind of reach that extra echelon for themselves.
Looking at the other side, we have a player we talked a little bit about in the beginning of the season, which is Gate. He's off to a pretty good start. Hasn't been looking too sharp the last 2 games we watched OpTic. He went off to a very hot start, but has cooled down a little bit. But he did play well on Train the times they have played it. So this is a guy we want to look towards and see what he can do, in order to help OpTic to clinch this win.
Check it out. We do have just under a minute to get this bad boy underway. And with that, we need to encourage JKS and Nifty to go ahead and get inside of the server and get the live on 3 script going, because that is what we're waiting on. Now, I have to ask you guys, though, where we're standing on this one. Do we side with Renegades or do we side with OpTic?
I'm going to continue with OpTic on this one. Since they've played so much Train, I'm just going to have to bank on them having actually figured it out by now. So and they did have a good showing versus Liquid as well a couple of days ago on the very same map. So yeah, setting with OpTic.
I think we're going to have a completely different type of game where it's going to be a lot of chaotic and it's going to be fast-paced. And I think that suits OpTic better than it suits Renegades. So OpTic would take this one.
I don't see that the sales get deflated from Renegades there, having lost the first map, and they put up a pretty decent fight. Perhaps that's what it takes to get it all in full circle. And with that, though, speaking of full circle, the other half of the semi-circle desk is to my right. That would be our commentators in Pansy and, of course, Harry.
They switched position. Why?
Yeah,
just like to switch it up, keep you on your toes, see how awake you are. Okay. And you actually passed. No one else did.
Yeah.
Well, I was ready.
I was just letting it go.
Oh, okay. Oh, sure.
We're like, oh, they've messed up. They couldn't even get to the right positions. Yeah. Well, we'll let it slide for this time.
Sort of look like each other's well, so nobody will notice anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Lauren's new, so yeah, exactly.
Okay, everybody calm down.
Sorry.
We do have one more map here between these teams. That map is going to be Train. Lauren, are you ready to take this one away? Do you want the reins?
Please.
Take it away.
Thank you so much. No, this would be a very good game. I'm pretty excited for this. I think Mirage was a nice opener to things. You got a little bit of a taste of it, but you want to get into the real thing. And as highlighted, this should be more exciting. I think the OpTic have warmed up. They got put on notice. They got reminded that this is not a pushover. This is not easy. So they've actually got to really come out and give us a good game here.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. I'm just... Jeez,
are you okay?
Yeah, that's awfully loud. It's just everywhere I go, I just ruin audio, it feels like.
Okay. All right, well, look, you fix that up. I'll get to casting. And rather big hit down on Ivy. And it's Stanislaw working his way forward to the site. You don't need X-ray. You don't need to see anything extra than the players see. You keep this just as it is. And now you can see how hard it actually is for these players to work it out. Stan's already got 3 kills. And he's had some brilliantly smart plays towards Mirage on B. And I might have just caught a glimpse of him down by Pop. Yes, Jusilo definitely got spotted, at least by me, but I'm not sure if Stan was able to spot that out. But he's gone for the smart play again. Heads over to B, trying to do what he can. He plants for the CT side of things as well, which is quite nice. He can readjust accordingly, make it quite hard work for Jusilo to play back in.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for him. So many angles to check and so little time to do it in. Doesn't have a kit to work with. And Stan, here's him tap on the defuse, and now going to go in with the peek. Ooh, that was lovely. It almost felt like there was like a bit of like lag time between the shot being fired and the bullet connecting, and it's always good to see 4K from Stan in that round, including the 1v2 clutch at the very bitter end there. Renegades, they're going to be kind of kicking themselves after that. They had a man advantage, everything was going their way, and well, you know, Stan, he giveth and he taketh away.
So, 2 scouts, a couple of CZs. Not much more to write home about, really, for Renegades. They are suffering, really, for money, obviously. But on the other side, UMP's Mac 10s, and actually the damage is being done. Nifty finds Gabe. This is not good. This gets worrying, this gets a little scary, and you're still showing how it is done. That's 2 impressive kills. Config and Stansor are going to be reeling off the back of that, and Renegades right back at this.
Yeah, I mean, the Scout's doing some genuine work there. Ustillo, he's going to be very, very happy. 2 kills from him, and Nifty still has his left to work with. And it was this second shot from Ustillo that was just wonderful, and then, you know, complemented by Azra at the very end with the CZ, finishing off those tagged up players 1-1, all tied up. And now for OpTic, they've gone for just a flat eco, which is a curious decision. They can't actually get a buy in the next round anyway. Yeah, very, very common to see a team force it out here, but perhaps hoping they can get this bomb down. And to be honest with you, how Renegades are set up inside of this B bomb site, that is still a possibility. JKS going to start to now go aggressive, so that might actually kind of shut that one avenue of approach down. They're very reliant on the bomb plant here if they want to get a buy into the next round. And if they get the bomb plant, then they have their buy. It's a gamble. They've gone for it, and JKS going to try and put a stop to the madness. The bomb does go down, and that's all OpTic needed. 4K out from JKS and Renegades. They get a second round, but now OpTic have a buy in the next.
Yeah, that's job done for OpTic and the lads. Let's see the money obviously jump up in a second as the defuse comes through. So 4K sitting around on the T side. Very nice. We saw Renegades picking up that first half in on Mirage, should I say. So we've seen what they can do with that, I think. Or is it the second half? It was one of the 2 pistols. So they're 50-50 thus far. And now they've tipped the scales, obviously coming into train. So good work from them. Taking my shoes off. I'm getting comfy here. I think this is going to be a long matchup, you know, Harry. So shoes are off. We're chilling out. We're getting ready for a long
Shoes are off. Seats in full recline.
Yeah, the seat can't recline. I'm not going to lie to the viewers at home. All right?
Well, you know, it's all part of the illusion.
Well, the T side doesn't have full utility, but you can see what the CT side are sticking on. They've gone for like the bonus round, right, where essentially they've stuck on lesser weapons, but they still have the money into the next round to get a really good buy. But if they get past on this, even better, money saved, all looking good. So you've got JKS on B, Nifty in the back line. So if we see OpTic going for this, this is going to be actually, you know, a decent hold against them.
Yeah, Flash is going to rain on in, and now Nifty paints them up with damage on this scout. He's been a bit of a monster with it. He's still doing damage, and that's going to allow JKS 3 quick, easy kills. Now this time, ooh, Cajun B and Stan, they very, very quickly mopped up the incumbent forces. Actually, now we're going to leave it on the back of Jacob. 1 versus 2. The one kind of silver lining for him is at least Cajun B's tagged low, and that nade is enough to finish him off. Now it's just Stan left to find. Will he expecting to be in connector, though? Tucked away beneath the shield that is that smoke.
Bomb's not planted for this, though, at all.
Yeah, it's starting to fade away, and that's actually a way into this round from Jacob, as now Stan's been pressured out as the smoke rains in. Stan knows he has to take the peek on in, and those shots are going to give up his position. Jacob going to throw another nade out. He just had an infinite supply of these. He's got on the bomb, and the nade sound actually covers it up. He's just going to be sticking it, and he gets away with the defuse. Stan finds him at the end. But Renegades it with their 3rd round, and they will take that all day long. JKS has been on form, as he goes up to 8-2 right now, top of the board for Renegades.
Okay. 3-1 right now. Match pause. I'm curious as to what this is for. If it's a tactical, it's very early for a tactical. Doubt it's going to be.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be technical if it's going to be anything.
Yeah. No tactical from OpTic, so very early.
Yeah, they're taking it early.
Okay, fair enough. I like it. Get keen. Why not? And if you're OpTic, I guess you come into this matchup kind of touted as the more favorable side. I think anyone who watches CS a lot will know that it is going to be a relatively even matchup. I would obviously tip it in OpTic's favor, but I guess why not address the issues early? Try and get it done, get it dealt with, and get yourself in a better position going forward, because you need that. You know, this is all about those positions, and every end of a season, you look back, you're like, oh, if only we'd won that one game here, or tried that little bit harder there, you might get results. So again, it's very important on every single occasion to bring the best game that you can. And we are on course, we're ready to go. 3-1 currently in favor to Renegades. But this is where we could see OpTic making it a little bit costly, but good money in the bank for at least JKS. Everyone else sitting around like 1.6, but they have the full purchase here.
Yeah, and this time Az has gone ahead and posted up over here into PopDog, and that's Gade already sent away. They just keep offering themselves up to him. Config going to get tagged as well. And Az, well, he's going to stick around. How on earth has Config won that? The CZ too strong. And that's an M4 retrieved. Config will take that all day long. Now, kind of sadly, the two players with armor are both tagged down very, very low. Shazam and Cajun B.
Yeah, but
ooh,
Stan's still sitting pretty well. So this could be problematic if Stanislaw is starting to wake up. We're going to have a big game on our hands, but this is terrifying for Renegades. This was never meant to be a threat. So they've, Stan is tagged up a little bit. There is that. But then they can, you look at this, you think, oh, that's a B hit every day. P250s, Deagles, CZs. Bodes very well. They've got one smoke left up on Config. He puts that down towards the lower side of ramp. Molotov goes in. And you can see the play ahead of Stanislaw trying to use the timing, but it's Gade to capitalize on that trading officially nifty. If I'm you, I'm saving that AWP right now. I'm backing the hell out of here. I'm done for. But that was very nicely done from OpTic, especially Stanislaw finding room. Config a bit, I don't want to say luck, but it looked like Azza was not ready at all for a player to just come down drop like that, and that's partly Azza's fault as well, right? But Config makes the most of it. Gets the gun away. Now they've got 3 rifles sitting on the T side here, and a bomb plant and probably a round.
Yeah, Sam gets spotted at the end, but that shot from Nifty, it's kind of rung the dinner bell as they all started to head his way. Really doesn't want to go down with the AWP, and it almost gets caught off guard by Gade, and Config's actually going to hear him trying to get back. Just manages to duck away here, but you imagine Config's going to take this fight, and why the hell not? Nifty, ooh, that's nice, that's a no-scope. That is lovely, but here's that really, really nice opener, and the follow-up from Stan. I'll take that all day long. Second round on the board for OpTic, and 3 rifles carried forward, as you said. They will be very, very pleased with that. Kind of gets them out of any problematic economic scenarios, and now both teams are not looking too great. As Renegades, though, who are definitely on the back seat, as they've invested everything into this round. Double up setup in play. Jacob and Az are a little bit limited, and already lots of aggression from OpTic into this B-bomb, so they've already gone charging in, and actually JKS doesn't have vision on this. Az has got no idea either, and Config, he's already opened this site wide open.
JKS hitting a shot that you're hoping you see him hit, and you see Config instantly trying to pull forward, just get in their faces. And there's almost no step here for the Renegade side. It's another save. Double AWP being in play, obviously you want to keep that. And it's a massive amount to lose, even though there might have been a shout, you're in a 4v4 now, but the investment made, you want to keep control of that. It's too much to lose in the bigger picture. Let OpTic get back even. All right, 3-3. You can buy into the next round. You can make something work, even if it's just a CZ for Azza, it's fine. You can get some CT side aggression, push up somewhere, make that play begin. However, obviously, if they lost down all these guns, that cannot be possible. So, bomb planted, ticking away. Config going hunting. He's trying to get those guns away to make it very tricky for Renegades in the next round. Gade going to flash for him. Not ideal. Bit of bait. Not going to fall for it. And we hold and wait. Again, the money's not perfect for OpTic, but they had buffers, so they could have chased a little bit. Gade's on 8k. Cajun B can rebuy perfectly well. But beyond that, they can shuffle the money around, and they're in a really good spot here. So 3-3. Let's look back at the purchase. What's Ads been able to get? So a bit of a shuffle in money. They've been able to work some stuff out here. So that's not too bad overall.
Yeah, now we're seeing JKS head on over toward this B-bomb site with one of those AWPs. Nifty's up on the other. Holding on to mid for the time being. There is going to be Gade up above PopDog along with Config. This was the duo that we saw secure in that, I think it was 4th round. Be ready to find some nade damage early on. Config snuck into drop, and actually I don't know if Justillo is entirely ready for this. There's a gap in that smoke as well, and Config gonna go peeking on in. Timing's everything here for Justillo, and he doesn't check the close left. Oh no, Config goes ahead and finds the first and a second. That's quick. 3, okay, that is unreal. 3 massive kills out towards A. That's opened this site. And all of a sudden, JKS and Nifty, the two AWPers on in this round, left to try and do the dirty, but no, Nifty falls. It is just JKS. 1v4. 50 seconds left on the clock. He wants to try and save. The bomb plant will come in. And you imagine OpTic aren't going to be too kind to him here. Not really going to let him get away with anything.
No, I think kindness kind of gets removed at this point, doesn't it? But that's next level from Config. That sort of power that one man can possess and do. You know, normally 1 kill, 2 kills is excellent. 3 in that quick succession was perfection. If we could watch that back, I'd love to see it. Here it is. So the first, Patience, comes out, just completely decapitates Azza, and then Jacob just tries to trade in on it. You'd think that he'd be favorable in that situation, have the advantage, but no, not at all. 4-3 now. Money has been depleted for Renegades. You saw them trying to, I guess, drag out that buy, right? They try to bring out what they kept over. Azza going down, they saved with 4 players. And a tactical again, this time for Renegades, coming through. It's the first one they pulled on this map. I think it was last time it was OpTic, but it seems that OpTic kind of found that footing. Just send Config in, why not? That's your answer. Don't blame you. But now it's Renegades need to kind of work out what they're doing with their money, especially. That's in a bit of a tricky predicament here. So they need to now start those questions building. All right, how do we approach this? How do we get around that? And how to really get back in this matchup?
Yeah, especially considering, and early on, Config wasn't really having the best of performances. Now he has been the man who's opened things up for OpTic in a few of these rounds. He's definitely, once again, starting to find his form in that very hyper-aggressive style of play. He's going to be heading this time. Never will drop. Oh, those nades into mid. Shazam is so lucky to be alive. 5 HP on him as a barrage comes his way. Jacob, first to fall, he's also the man with armor for Renegades, so that's kind of devastating if you are them. Now occasionally they look to try and take up the mantle of Shazam here in mid. And he hasn't spotted anything just yet, but he's got players ready to wrap around in through Pop and in through Ivy, so they do have a 3-pronged attack in towards this A-bomb site.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? When Gade drops down, that essentially when you drop onto a player's head, it shows that you're on the ground the whole time, so you can shoot completely accurately. But this round shouldn't be too much of a bother. They have no armor, no upgraded pistols. It's actually an eco. I know it's crazy, right? A real eco. You just don't see it these days. Is still alive, getting down 1. That's Cajun B removed. That's a nice little pickup. Can't get the gun or do anything with it, but still not bad. It always feels nice to get that done, but it is what it is. OpTic, step forward. Now, Renegades obviously took that time out to discuss that last round, but specifically this round. What's the plan coming into the buy that we're about to get on the board? What can we do with it? How can we get it building? I'm wondering what Justillo is going to go for. I'm not sure if he just dropped someone out or if it was a bit of a shuffling catch. Maybe he dropped out the AWP for Nifty, which might be the case. And I think it is. So I hope we get to see Renegades kind of rejuvenated now after that pause and they've got a plan. Or if you're OpTic, the instant answer is always go quick. Just speed up the pace. Aggression has come out from the CT side. 2 players have pushed up over by Pop. This could be a huge incident now. JKS already finds Stanislaw. It looks like the quickening of pace was meant to be the answer, but it turns into a B hit. Nifty, the timing. Oh, it's awful for him. Can he recover though? Already the Molotov goes down. He gets outdone by Gade, and the B side is theirs. Maybe a misread from Renegades thinking the aggression was towards A, or wasn't. They quickly turned tail and got to B.
Yeah, now 4-on-4 in this retake. They've got rifles across the board to try and get it done, and a decent bit of utility to work with, but so do OpTic. Cajun B's gone aggressive here. He will be found and picked up by Jacob. He still is on this big flank as well, in from behind, although there is Config to keep an eye on it, although right now has his attention fixated. Now here towards that in a bomb site. He still has been allowed to work down through the ramp. Config gets found, and now it is just Gade, the young ex-North Academy player, gonna get beheaded by Jacob. Defuse comes in.
Close on time.
Just enough time.
I don't know if they do. Hold on. It's too late. It was so close. That is literally milliseconds. It's ones where you look at the in-game stats, it tells you like that defuse was 0.01 millisecond away. That's kind of insane. That comes right down to the wire. Now, what that means, so for the money here, you're going to see Renegades in, again, a tricky predicament with Cash. They've got a little bit for a couple of players, obviously, left over. They have some guns there. But the rest, real screwed out of it. Because Nifty, if you're him, you've got a P250 no armor because you want to look to buy the AWP, obviously one of the most expensive guns in the game. How's it going on the CZ? But OpTic now starting to build up some bank. Gades on 10k. You've got Stanislaw on 8,000. Config, plenty of money in the bank. So they're sitting pretty flush here. But I want to see some CT-side aggression coming out from Renegades. But again, it's tricky, right? Like, you're not leading in this. You're going to try and make it up for what you can. And that's what I mean. Finding config for free. That's a little bit naughty. That's the spam through the wall by the barbecue that's completely unable to get to. And it gets them in this spot. So that's a really nice free pickup. Unrecoverable rifle, sadly, for the CT side. Because that would have been really nice if they could get that in their hands. However, not to be for now. That could be something down the line. Azza, you can see he wants a bit of that. But there's two players in his way. But the timing could just be right here.
Terry might catch them both as they line up smokes out towards A. If Azza goes in now, he will secure at least one. Now there's an AK picked up and in with a real shot. He's going to be right down behind them. Azza, it's all eyes on him. They're not ready for this whatsoever, although they just hear the footstep and Gade going to turn back. Doesn't let him slip the knife on in. And now suddenly you still are left on this A bomb set alone. Nifty going to scavenge that one AK from his fallen friend Shazam. Does go down. KGB going to follow, and just like that, Renegades are back in this with a 4th round to their name.
Really important to at least keep those 3 alive with the weaponry, so if Azza can't afford one in the next round, if he's still struggling for cash, at least then they can drop one out to him and get full utility, get him kind of up on it. He's got 5k, but, you know, still, if you want to spread the wealth, you can do. He's fine. He can buy for himself. Looks like he's perfectly well set. Nifty's going to stick on the AWP. He can now supplement that with armor, obviously. JKS perfectly well set too. So everything looking good for Renegades now money-wise. Bit of a buffer in the bank. On the other side of things, you're starting to see not the tail end of the money either. They've still got a lot of cash going for OpTic. So they're getting bomb plants. They're still very much, I guess, keeping up toe-to-toe. So let's see what they go for this round. It looks like whenever they kind of get questioned or pushed, they like to go for an aggressive hit. And it looks like that's what we're going to see. But this nade could be big. Look at that damage overall. You think about that, every single player, apart from Shazam, gets hit by it. That's massive. KGB, you know, gets a bit of a trade going, but then he takes it further. But then Azza is right there from Pop. Living this 2v2. Very scrappy round. Very chaotic. But this can be where Config can thrive in this chaos.
Yeah, he's a man who was born in the chaos, molded by it. And now 1v2. Azza's going to start to retreat. Even the concept of going toe-to-toe with Config timing is in favor of Azza. 4k from him. The hero of Renegades in that round. 5-6. And they've started to chip away at OpTic's economy here on the T side. This will be... no, I was going to say their last buy, but no, they could actually scavenge one into the next as well. Bomb plant that would greatly help out in that endeavor. Nifty's got the AWP back out for Renegades, and Shazam's got his for OpTic. This should be a very, very good map for Shazam back when he was on that Misfits roster. Now, have really yet to see him kind of relive some of the moments we've seen from him on this map while he's been present in the OpTic roster. But, you know, they've still got that trick up their sleeve. JKS is down here on ramp, and he hears footsteps. The nade. Yeah, not going to find as much damage as we saw in the previous round. Just a little tickle onto Config and Shazam.
Still loads of utility with OpTic though. They're still in a good spot. They can make this B hit pretty tough. Who do we have on the other side? It's Azza and JKS. Okay. They still have Molotovs too, so this is quite fun. Both teams really keeping their utility late. I wonder how they're going to try and use it. Shazam playing a little ahead of the curve, but still holding off. JKS going to get baited. He spots an arm there. I'm pretty sure he must have done, unless maybe not. They've definitely seen something. JKS already adjusting around. There goes the Molotov, going to try and hinder the hit if they try to do something quick off the back. Shazam falls away from it. Now they have 2 players here for the T side of OpTic. Got Gade over there as well. But you're kind of now banking on Shazam to get that kill back, right? Where you're hoping like something happens that goes well for you. But the problem is Renegades can start putting down a lot of that utility, keeping them at bay, slowing them down. They've got 30 seconds, and really they've not caused a rotate here at all. So all the players are still in kind of the right place for this. Pop is about to have 3 players pouring out of it if they go for this A hit.
Only 24 seconds as they have to go for the A hit. They're going to go walking in to Nifty. He's now all that stands between them and this site, though. There is a man down towards Ivy in the form of Jacob. They boost up Nifty, but no, he falls off of the head, and that's going to offer himself up to Stan. 3-on-3, Jacob emerges, but missed shot Missed opportunity now lends the advantage back in favor of OpTic. They're given some crucial time to set up in the after plants, and Azza starts to pressure his way on in. Has to win this first fight out versus Stad. He's going to spot the gun barrel, and Stad goes down. It's all onto Gade. I'm bigging him up a lot. This would be a phenomenal clutch to win out, but no, Jacob will snuff him out. And just like that, Renegades, they're going to tie things up 6-6. And thankfully with the bomb plant, a buy can still come in for OpTic.
Yeah, it's not going to be great for a couple of players. Cajun B's going to be suffering a bit on 3.2. I don't know if anyone can drop him out maybe, but he can still buy, like he's still fine. But you need Shazam to start really building into this. The guy, when he goes off, you know what impact he can bring. There's no disputing it. So you need him to start getting into it as well. You need him to start providing those opportunities because he can be such an influential player when he does get there. So we'll see if that becomes a factor down the line, if maybe he's just not having that game on the T side yet. Config, though, aggressive as ever, burns alive. You can't just go walking into Olaf Meister's spot and think you'll get away with it. No. Azza, the nade, eventually puts him down. Ustilo goes for a look as well. This is very nice from the CT side. They won't be moved. I spoke with Shazam, and he actually does get one. Jacob there. Going to be caught. The Shaz was down by Ivy, but the bomb's down in the worst position right now. Cajun B and Shazam are going to have to dig deep to be able to pull this one through.
Cajun just slips on by. Shazam going to be mollied back as well, but the timing there, the peak just missed from Ustilo. Has allowed Cajun B to work his way all the way down here towards Old Hell. Shazam going to try and win this fight now with JKS. Missed shot from the pair of them. Cajun B. The timing onto Nifty's not there, and Nifty's going to spot him. Now it is just Shazam. 1 versus 4. He's in with the first, and we were saying, he had to try and step up, find his footing a bit. He's gotten 2 into this round. He's doubled his kills, and still with a chance. 40 seconds after the bomb is in the worst possible spot for him, and this crossfire from JKS is going to make things that much more complicated.
Yeah. He's getting any more out of this one, is he? Maybe a lucky shot towards Pop, but that'll be about it. 20 seconds to try and stay alive. Moving himself away. Gonna just try and keep hold of that up as best he can. The problem is that the rest of OpTic, money-wise, are in a poor state, but it is what it is. Renegades stemming the bleeding. Good position from Shaz there to watch push out, but I doubt you're still on JKS going to chase. It'd be good to get it away from him. The fact that then they'd all be kind of in a bad predicament money-wise, but you don't lose everything. JKS sitting on 11k, he's pretty comfy. Azza as well on 10. Renegades again with this kind of resurgence of form, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't recall how many they've won in a row, but I feel like it's quite a few. I think sitting on four rounds in a row, if my memory holds correct, which, you know, they'll be pretty happy with, although money never really given too much of a chance to build up. They are at least safe if they lose 1 round. So Nifty's got that up, and he's going to be taking that once again out here towards outside. JKS waiting down the bottom of ramp, and OpTic stacked up outside the B-bomb site, relying heavily on Shazam to try and find them an opening. They have partial brought down around this AWP. A light investment in with it. No smoke, though, to nullify Nifty here, and that's going to be one of their big pitfalls as they look to head on in. Him and JKS have the crossfire set up. Nifty in with the first, and now JKS pounces out in with 2 of his own. Stands able to haul 1 back, but that's it.
Oh, Shaz. Beautiful work between JKS and Azza there as well. Nifty getting the first was just, you know, the way you wanted to start off. But that round being pushed aside, and Poach coming back in from OpTic won't be bad either. They'll be okay to fight forward, but yeah, this is a really nice little bit of crossfire setup. They played that really well. Shazam, I'm curious what he can afford because he had such a rough round. I don't know if he's been dropped out. Yeah, okay, so he's got an AWP. That's no problem. On the other side of things, of course, money is not the motive for Renegades. It's just rounds on the board. 8-6, OpTic have started to hit that wall. They've not really been able to, I guess, regulate the rounds that have been coming through at this point. They've kind of fallen off a little here. But JKS, good timing on this, but maybe not needed. Config excels, but everyone else from Renegades has already done the job. JKS in the back. Does so well. It's a 4v2. Cajun B just gets swept aside and stands still. Your last man alive. Blinking, you miss it this round.
Yeah, big man stand. 1v4 would be needed. Now, we've actually seen him have a... Okay, I'm kind of trying to big this up, but he's just been tagged down at 23 HP. Oh, no. Oh, no. Nifty gets the knife, and that's a confidence building, rather. Oh, building round. Look at this, a nice. He's been keen on the old B-hop. I mean, that was a pretty bad B-hop, but it's still.
Apologies to players, we have movement. That's all we have.
But, a 9-6 half in favor of Renegades. That was at one point in time a very, very dominant looking half from OpTic, although it very quickly gets turned on its head. Renegades, once they find success, they seem to never stop getting it.
Doesn't that just remind you of Mirage?
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, OpTic, they kind of hit that wall. That's what it felt like. They hit the point of no return. Yeah, it was a 4-6 half at one point in time. Now 9-6 in favor of Renegades, and the two culprits are really kind of driving that home. The names that we would expect: JKS and Nifty top of the board. 117 ADR for JKS and 100 for Nifty.
But the main thing in my eyes is still, where's Shazam gone? This guy can be very good at dictating pace, being aggressive, being confident. He's just not been there. Nifty had a bit of a performance, obviously. He did quite nicely for himself, but I know it sounds like it's easy to dog on Shaz if he has a bad game, but you can kind of see the difference in results as soon as he has a better one, right? You can get those rounds on the board. Still a close game considering. 6-9 is certainly nothing to, I guess, sneer at, right? It's still good enough, but if you had Shaz maybe turn up a little bit more, get a couple of those kills going, that would have been awesome. But even beyond him, Gade, Cajun B, Config, quite quiet for what I'd expect for their level as well. They're big impact players. They're meant to be able to push that ADR and get in the face. But Renegades obviously looking kind of rejuvenated with the new player coming in, and everything's starting to work out well for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is like with this OpTic roster, you kind of feel like Train should be a good map for them in the sense that their double AWP is one that's very strong. Cajun B and Shazam can both pick that up, right? And they never really had the money to get that going. So that also became a bit of a downfall, but now already Stan's got aggressive, and he's definitely feeling quite good at the end of that first half. He was the one player who was turning up for OpTic. So he's going to be there instantly with the backstab. Shazam and Gade ready to try and hold back the coming tide of boys that are about to head their way.
That's a weird phrase.
Yeah, the boys.
But yeah, smokes go up, T-side gets down, bombs going to be planted pretty soon. It's a really nice set, well, I hate saying set piece because it's a pistol round, but it is. It's very nicely constructed. You have 2 Molotovs left over as well, so actually very little armor left on the T-side, but good positioning will kind of negate the necessity of that anyway. Smoke goes up, again, just creating more barriers that OpTic aren't really willing to run through right now. Gade's already out, he's the only one with a kit, of course. Smoke as well to his hand, but look at these angles they're holding. Shaz already takes 1, takes down 2, but trades back in as Jacob. It's a 3v3, but JKS still has that Molotov. That should be the end line here, but actually Yostillo can be a great little bit of a, I guess, a card up the sleeve, a bit of a trick to pull, and now the Molotov goes in. Is there a smoke left to be put up? There is, and it doesn't matter. Yostillo and JKS control the situation well enough. They get the first pistol round, obviously, or at least the pistol round on the second half on their side, and they can buy up off the back of it. So for them, that was very well played. They clearly had a plan in mind, and they executed it well.
Yeah, good pistol round from Renegades, and I think that no, I don't even know. I'm getting. Like, yeah, they've split the pistol rounds across both maps, I think, is what that means. And now I'm going to look to try and find success here early on. Of course, OpTic weren't able to do that in the first half. This time, Renegades are going to have no issue at converting this Antica. They found the first 2. Config has been chipped away at as well. Kind of the rascal in the back line with the Deeg, and he's already been tagged out of 40 HP. Now finished off by Jacob. It's just Gade and Stan left. And they cannot get anything done. And 11th for Renegades is inevitable. And they keep it clean, and that's exactly what we needed to see from them.
How many hours in CS do you have?
4,000 and something.
Remove the casting hours. How many played
I don't.
hours?
Yeah, no, most of that is like playing. I think like maybe like 3,500. Why?
I'm just curious.
How many hours do you have?
Between like the 2 accounts, probably like 6K.
Yeah,
but I have no idea how many casting hours in that. Like, I could not tell you after this time.
Well, so I used to want to be UK Hope, elite player. I tried playing and I was just terrible.
Right.
So I figured I would get better by removing my crosshair and playing with no sound.
Oh, you're one of those stupid idiots.
Yeah, well, actually, I feel like it worked out a bit. Like I was okay for a while.
You removed your crosshair?
Yeah, because have you ever read like those amazing stories about athletes where it's like, oh, he only had 1 golf club and he played in the sand and now he's a snooker champion, and it's just like, you know, they have like everything going against them. That was my
But you do
ambition.
that for like a week normally. So like the reason we can talk like this is because it is going to be around against pistols. But the point is that, so when I used to play competitively in Call of Duty 4, we did practices. So let's say the team doesn't listen to each other and they're being arses, which everyone does. Like there's a breakdown of communication at some point where someone thinks that they know best and they don't listen to the call. You essentially play a game with no TeamSpeak or no Discord, I guess nowadays. And then you realize you actually do need to communicate, but you don't remove your crosshair.
I actually find that's what Renegades are realizing now. They need to communicate. Somehow it's come down to a 1v1, so we're just kind of being casual about this, and in the meantime, it's become a very bad situation. It's going to go bad to worse, and okay, Ustilo just holds on to it. Well, my heart was racing there, like.
Was it?
Yeah.
Do you need doctors? Or?
No, I should be
I've
all
got
good.
some tablets that might help.
No, I should slow my heart rate down. What have you got, like, just morphine?
Anti-anxiety
I'm
tablets
a big
everywhere.
fan of that.
Oh, you know what? Having mental breakdowns constantly is a real fun time. Tactical timeout for Renegades. I'm kidding, obviously. 12-6, though. They're doing very well here. That round was absolutely appalling, to be honest. You don't want to be seeing the 1v1 on the pistol.
No, you don't. I mean, you kept seeing the fights come out, right? And it's like, oh, okay, they've lost one guy, but they'll win the next. And it's like, oh, God, the USP's killed another.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. That's been like a bit of a curse with all the NA stuff that I've seen. It's like the USPs are just weirdly effective. Thankfully, they're saving
like,
grace. This man,
on.
Ustilo.
Have you ever been to Australia?
I have not ever been to Australia.
It's quite good. I actually did see a massive spider. It was quite scary.
No, yeah, so that's the thing. The concept of Australia just terrifies me because of the spiders.
Yeah, we were
makes it a
staying in
no-go.
Sydney at the Olympic Park, and there was like a nature walk nearby. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, I went there with the Australian. It wasn't Chad, it was Mitch Ubershouts, who works for the Overwatch League. Went for a nice wander, and it has this huge metal frame around that you can walk where the digging site is. It was really cool. But it has like metal grating, so it's got like holes in it. And a spider, obviously, trying to catch birds and bigger prey. Apparently, went, yeah, there's my nest.
Any spider
It's
that takes
huge.
anything.
It was like big, like body-wise, it was like as big as the palm of my hand, and then just it was a beefcake. Freaked me out. I think I took about a 20-foot radius around it and cried. However,
I'd have just gone home, as in like
I need
on
a
the flight
plane.
home, not like back to the hotel, because they are not safe either.
No, I will make Chad clear my room first. I'll make him do a sweep, because he's a native, right? So he's less scared of gigantic things.
Yeah, but even then, like, surely if you're I mean, I've seen some of the videos, you know.
Shut up. All right, I'm going there at some point soon. So, I mean, shush your face.
The huntsman spiders, they're the big ones, you know, the ones that
What
just...
are the ones that... are
like
they the bird-eater ones? Like,
yeah,
there's ones that are under the ground that like jump... Oh,
yeah, no,
man.
There's just so many, that's the thing, like, it's like...
There's a few, take your pick.
Yeah, it's like the selection box of spiders of the world.
Awful, isn't it?
You know, yeah,
have
like
a flamethrower.
the worst selection box anyone could ever hope for. But I don't know, something. Here's like a sweet treat for Renegades as they dig into this B bomb. So they're going to get it for free. And Shazam is just going to get rid of Nifty out towards A, but the bomb can go down here inside of B pretty easily. Gade playing very, very passive, and that's kind of facilitated you still to go aggressive. And they go blow for blow with one another. That's a quick flick from Shazam. You know, you're kind of saying he had to try and step up, and he has found two into this round. Now stands in the drop. Jacob, it's all onto Jake, yes, and he's out in the middle of the firing squad. OpTic will get themselves a 7th round. And that's a very nice recovery, because that was a 4-on-5, a bomb planted from Renegades.
Yeah.
And they don't find anything.
Are you more scared of snakes or spiders?
Spiders, hands down. I love a snake. Although I've been bit by an adder before.
What?
Yeah, just
How
like
have you
casual.
been bit by an adder?
I don't know.
You live in England.
Yeah, you get adders in the UK.
Yeah, but I mean, what were you doing to get bit
So
by an
I
adder?
was on a golf course, like just chilling, and there's like it was a really, really popular adder spot. And I was just walking past, suddenly noticed crippling pain in my leg, and I like looked down, and this little adder fella just slithers away, and I'm like, great, this could only get worse from here, and it did. I was like bedbound for like 2 weeks. It was
really
awful, but I still love.
But
snakes.
you still don't. You'd still.
I would hold a snake.
Yeah, but I mean, like, apparently, like, you know, snakes are more deadly than spiders in Australia.
Yeah, but it's like my fears are rational. I don't care. Like if a snake kills me, a snake kills me. I still like.
You've been bitten by one, you're like, no, it's fine. They're cute. It's like,
but
It's like Stockholm syndrome.
spiders,
That's just,
well, yeah, but you know, spiders are terrified. And 8 legs.
I hate the way that they run.
Yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
it.
Like in horror movies, when there's like, you know, the girl's possessed or something, they like run really weirdly up on the ceiling. It's like anything that like scurries.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's why they reckon
You need to
the
stop.
irrational fear of spiders comes from is how the legs move. Have you
Yeah.
seen like the tunneling spiders, the ones that like come out of the little
You need to
holes
stop.
underground? Yeah,
need
no,
to
this
stop.
is just the worst. I'm really getting you hyped for future travels.
Can't wait. Can't wait. I'm just gonna be in a little bubble. Just gonna live in there and I'll be perfectly fine and happy.
Just take a big sword everywhere you go.
Big sword.
Yeah.
Is that the?
Well, what else could you use to keep spiders away? Now, I've kind of given
Flamethrower.
you like one of the 2 best
Cricket
things you
bat.
could.
I think a cricket bat would be good. You know what I mean? You get that like satisfying thud. You know what I mean? That'd be
Yeah,
good.
but I mean, some of them I feel like could just take the bat off you.
It's when they like you go to hit it and they jump on the bat and then run up the arm of it. Oh.
Oh, have you seen that where like? Yeah.
Don't give me examples.
Okay, it's all right.
Hey, OpTic actually got the round without losing a player this time. He got down to like a 1v1 last time we saw one of those sort of rounds. So nice job. Money
sure,
is a bit of an issue here though. It's getting a little low for the T side, obviously.
Yeah. Be sure to spam the devil emoji in chat if you too are terrified of spiders. We can all unite.
You can't try and encourage them to spam the devil emoji. Like the love heart one went down. It was a nice time. Like, have you seen how adorable that smiley is? We're not here for devils, all right? You need Jesus. Nifty takes him to church. Stanislaw goes down. It's a 5v4 already. Renegade's going to strike back with a bit of a hefty blow to begin with, but CT side aggression seems to be on the cards.
Yeah, most definitely does. Renegades, they're going to be holding their ground. Cajun B and Config look like they're going to try their hand at some aggression. This is kind of weird. Config's the man on the AWP over Cajun in this scenario, and he's going to go peeking into this. Now, Config, not a stranger to the AWP, but that's a missed shot onto Ustillo, and they would have loved to have found an equalizer there. No one nearby for Renegades. Trading would have been impossible, but instead they just have to concede from their aggression. And now the pressure's kind of on. Like Cajun B, you can see he's really got his work cut out for him over here inside this A bomb site. There's Azza out from T mid, and then there's also a man down in Pop. The bomb's not even here, though. It's still all the way over towards B. So the pressure's definitely on. Just being a man down on train is so tricky to deal with on the CT side. You can see how thinly spread now this defense is for OpTic.
Like Nutella on a crepe. Thin and spread. Bit of banana in there. It's a great time to be alive. Config getting tagged up, though, down to 6 HP, and the hit comes in. 30 seconds left. The T-side have the numbers, but they still need to get that bomb down, and they still need to get it going. You've got Jacob being a pest over by B. He's going to keep the players guessing. You can see the rotation actually coming out. KGB went over towards the B site. It's all but a ruse, and it's all gone very well for Renegades.
Yeah, it has gone very well, hasn't it? And KGB left 1v5, really wants to try and stay alive. The only issue is Jacob is here. And he very much keeping KGB pinned down. Okay, he's able to win that, but it should be over for him. As is flanked round into CT spawn. And Ustillo as well going to try and take this head on.
Have you ever tried Vegemite?
No, but I kind of hate anything that's like Marmite related.
What's wrong with you? You're not British.
Well,
Why don't you like it?
Because it just tastes awful. There's no excuse for it, you know? Like, it is just the, oh no, you died to the bomb cage, and that's like, that is a bitter pill to swallow. But yeah, no, it just tastes terrible, you know? Like, it's not a nice flavor. I can't even describe it. Like, if anyone asked me to describe what that is, it's just like...
beef stock, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just awful.
It's like breakfast gravy, it's great.
Breakfast gravy?
Yeah.
I'd have gravy over a breakfast, but I wouldn't ever let Marmite or anything touch my plate. Ugh. How can you like that? How can anyone like that?
I mean...
I'm very opinionated on my breakfast here, Lauren. You know, we kind of sided on the hash brown thing.
Yeah, but I mean, you've ruined it now with Marmite. Like, Marmite's a great one. It's a good number. You know, Vegemite, the consistency I find a bit trickier. I appreciate it. I get it.
What is the fine difference between the two?
Marmite is made of beef stock, essentially, if I'm not mistaken. Same with Bovril, but it's Bovril's like more of that, whereas Vegemite's actually vegetarian, if I'm not mistaken.
Have you ever seen the slogan on a bottle of Bovril? It's so like they're so
Delicious?
messed up. No,
It's
have you ever like?
delicious.
It's all just like. I can't even remember what it was. I'll have to look it up.
He's making things up. If you
No,
guys
no.
have never tried Marmite, Bovril, or Vegemite, give it a go. Get some toast, get some butter. Obviously, nice and warm, nice and hot. Melting butter everywhere. A light layer of Vegemite, Marmite, or Bovril. Any of the above. Any of those products, wonderful. Not sponsored, obviously. However, we need to get back to the game, as we might be seeing something go down here towards B. It looks like we do see Gade and Shazam keeping tabs on this, and an awful bit of timing as well, because Gade just backed off towards A as the hit towards B is about to be mounted. The smokes come in, and you got that awful feeling in your stomach when you know the hit's going to come through. You got to just bank on Shazam to hit some big shots here. He's found one, but the second just simply won't follow. Desperately trying to find anything he can, but JKS makes his way forward. The reply finally comes through from Gade, but it's going to be an uphill battle now.
Yeah, Nifty certainly not missing his shots with the AWP. Going to be there to get Cajun B. Jacob polishes off Config, and now it's just Gade left. And he will have to relinquish this round the way of Renegades. 14-8. 6 rounds to their advantage, and they managed to finally take one back. And the economy of OpTic is very much a broken one. That is a sorry sight to see if you're them. So Gade kind of desperately trying to cling on to this M4 as a small bastion of hope for them to carry forward. Although Azza going to catch him on the peak. They lose the M4, they lose the round, and now they're in a very awkward stance. Do they eco here and try to play for the overtime, or do they force buy till the end of the game?
What would you do?
I mean, like, there's no real right call to make,
that.
is there?
You don't have to give me the grey answer.
No,
well, there's no right call, actually,
it's just there isn't,
I'm
but it's like, they're going to go for the force, you know. And I agree with that. That's what I would do. Because then you know, I mean, OpTic have won enough of these forces in the past. Config has been so good on this CZ. Gade hasn't brought up anything. He's kind of not following the rest of the squad, but that does at least allow them something into the next round. Missed shot from Nifty, and they need him to miss a couple more of those to be given an opportunity into this round. Cajun B would have loved to have found that there. Az is tagged down to 8 HP, but he still manages to survive. And now Shazam with the Deeg does drop Ustillo. So we're into a 4-on-4. OpTic aren't ready to give this round up just yet. Look at this flank from Config. That is monstrous. This is the play that could make it.
Could. Position duly noted now. Does get himself a gun, of course, but while this happens, the rest of the Renegades are heading towards B. But there's still 2 players here. The information's certainly been passed through. Plenty of utility, but they still need that quick kill to get into this site, and they need to do it now. Config, so close with that spam, but doesn't get it through. I'm wondering where the play is here. 2 of the players who are OpTic are stacked towards the higher side of things, so towards like Oil Train and I guess by Spindle, just underneath the ladder. 45 seconds, so they don't actually have to commit to B. And you can see the OpTic are dithering with that. They're not sure if they're actually going to go for this, if there's any sort of giveaways. You can see JKS expecting a flank here, but down to 35, they need to make their minds up.
Yeah, but at that time, it ticked down, and with it, OpTic have 2 players in connector. I really like how they're playing this setup right now. Actually, both those players are going to be able to rotate in at a moment's notice. And so Shazam just gives up that initial fight. He is going to get caught out by Jacob, but Gade hasn't sprung the trap yet. They've gone right on by, and he could just deny the bomb plant when it goes down. No one checks for Gade, and there we go. He gets one. Does then fall to JKS, and Stan now has to try and claw this back, but there's only 5 seconds. JKS going to fake out the plant. He has to find the kill. Stan's going to go up, and JKS gets it done. 15-8 as JKS emerges victorious in the 1v1.
There's a man in a hotel room in Copenhagen right now. His name is Sponge. He is ecstatic. He loves a bit of that. He's getting Vegemite all over the place. He's seeing JKS on 23 kills. Smeared it on the walls. It's going to be a terrible day for the cleaners tomorrow. But he's a happy boy. 15-8, one more round, and Renegades prove a lot of people wrong. The odds were certainly not in their favor at the start of this one. And Nifty off with a great shot there. It does take a lot of damage, but what a bit of impact he makes. 31 HP left over with a perfect entry into this round.
Yeah, now Renegades once again walking over to the tried and trusted B bomb site. Stan down here in Pop Dog. He would love to maybe find something on these players. He's going to be there very, very quickly on the flank. Azza, though, he's in a similar situation. He's ready to head out into A and try and cut off these players as they get caught rotating around. Ready to push into this. So much utility left for Renegades. They should just be allowed to waltz into this site. Gade's the only man who has anything to say about it now. He has the M4 out. They're going to start to come his way. Gade, well, he lights up the first. Nifty instantly trades. It's just Stan and Config left. 2 versus 3. They're very far away, so the rotation's going to take a while to come on in. And as well as that, just to kind of top things off, as Nifty's got aggressive, trying to take the fight onto Config, the only man with full HP. Now, Config's going to win that first out on a JKS, but he loses his teammate Stan, and I don't know if he's ready for Nifty in this forward position. He is not.
No, indeed. Renegades, a really nice turnaround after what seemed like an incredibly back-and-forth game there between the two. Got to say, I'm thoroughly impressed with what we saw from Nifty in the end, coming through there. JKS, big performance, obviously a name that we often say, you know, we're hoping to see him have those big games. That's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, it is, and we can go ahead and throw this one over to the boys as they rejoin us back here on the desk. How did you guys find that one?
Sprightly.
What a word.
Is that wrong?
No, love it. Big
All
fan.
right. I just realized how surrounded I am as the only American in the studio today. Of course, Jason O'Toole is not here, and I actually don't think there's anybody else. Wow. All right. So how about this? We just witnessed, obviously, the Renegades playing a much more strategically strong game than they did on Mirage. Let's talk a bit about what we saw.
I mean, yeah, I would say it was a different version of Renegades in this one. The way they approached the game was a little bit different. I expected it to be a little bit more fast-paced than it was. I think we started out seeing OpTic trying to put on the fast pace. We saw Config going out of pop block along the lines a few times, just getting those entry frags, sort of like what we expected. Renegades got it under control, though, I'd say, and managed to pull together a decent first half, getting 9 rounds on the CT side. Not necessarily a disaster for OpTic, but still workable for them. But when they switched over to the T side, which is Renegades, you know, in control, I'd say OpTic never really had any answers to neither the outside workings that Renegades had to do or the inside working. Skate did not have the best game ever as well, and it seemed like OpTic was just a little bit flat in overall.
Yeah, and that's like we started off talking about Gate and how well he did for himself the first time we saw them on train. That was versus Complexity, obviously.
Yeah.
Bit of a shaky game, ended 16-14, but Gate was kind of the powering force driving OpTic to victory there. The last 2 train games we've seen out of OpTic, Gate has been having real struggles on that inner bomb site, and we do know that they already have a formidable inner player on that side, and Stanislaw, exactly. And we, you know, when we were about to see the debut of OpTic, we were thinking to ourselves, oh, it's going to be nice to see Stanislaw return to that inner bomb site. If this trend kind of continues, where Gate's not necessarily able to, you know, the best case scenario is he's going to get a 1-for-1 trade. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see them actually changing things up, because to this point, whenever we've been able to see OpTic on train, it hasn't really been that great. And it seems to be they seem really adamant about making this their go-to map, I guess. We've seen it, I think, 4 times to this point in Pro League. So I'm curious, like, if you're going to pick it this often, you're bound to have, or you have to have better results. That's just how it is. You can't make this your staple map if you're just going to go and lose on it every single time. So yeah, that is a bit of a worrying trend, and obviously, yeah, if individuals are just going to fall flat, then not a whole lot to do. It's pretty much just Stanislaw having a game that's worthwhile remembering for OpTic.
I mean, we could see here that this OpTic lineup has taken strides in becoming the sort of final form that they want to be in. But are they passing that window now? Is it the window where they should be maybe more in the driver's seat? Should there be less, you know, this is a new lineup, this?
I mean, they're still a new
early,
team.
yeah.
Still a very new team, and still, again, like, let's be honest, this is 3 Danish guys moving to America, having to adjust not only their playing life, but also their personal life, you know, having to adjust to new culture. Moving is not the hardest thing, or sorry, the easiest thing ever. I did it myself, and it's not a cultural shock. You Americans are decent in some ways, but
in some ways,
I mean,
my God,
in some ways you're okay, but I mean, it's never
a lot
fun
to take
thing to do.
in.
It's a lot to take in. There's so much to focus on, not only gaming, but give them some more time. Let's see what they can do. We talked about this OpTic lineup a lot of times, and I think the biggest problem for them is the personalities in this team. I'm not sure that it's going to work out, you know, with all these big characters on the team. Talent definitely there, money being put into the team, but can they make it work together? Yet to see.
I actually spoke with Shazam yesterday.
You have friends, huh?
Yeah, you know, believe it or not, I know some people in some places. But having spoke to him, he told me that inside the team was a really cool mesh of just the group of guys. We speculated a little bit on some of what could be problems between, you know, him and Stan. How are the
Danes going to mesh with the
Danes
Americans?
mesh in? Is Config going to have this sort of hothead mentality? Like, how is it all going to come together? But it would appear as though it's just sort of a reset for everybody. So it's a new team, it's a new feel. And with that, we'll be going into our next matchup here really soon. It will be Complexity versus Cloud9, of course, across 2 maps. The final 2 maps of the week here for the ESL Pro League, North America at least. Actually, I guess it's the whole thing overall.
Yeah.
Either way, let's go ahead and cut to a quick break. When we come back, we're jumping right into Complexity versus Cloud9.